What's in our camera bag? Mozzie edition.
In today's video, we're gonna be breaking down all of the camera gear that we brought to shoot our documentary and our photo book, Mozzie. Link up here if you haven't seen it. And by the way, if you're new here, we make videos about our home renovations, helicopter travel, and how we make videos around those things. And today we're just actually talking about a documentary that has nothing to do with those things, but we like to make series and films on this channel.
What we normally make our videos about, except for this time where we didn't
this
make
is kind of it. We're talking about our camera gear, the
Yeah.
camera gear we use to make the video
this is
that's on this channel.
This falls in the how we did it category.
This is the DVD extra. Back in May, Chris and I took a 14-day road trip across the island of Newfoundland where we were from with two goals in mind. One, to capture enough good photos to create a coffee table book, which is something we've always wanted to do. And two, create a feature-length documentary for this channel. So we packed up 2 bags filled with gear. When we talk about gear doesn't matter, we mean like the newest and latest and greatest doesn't matter. What matters is picking the gear that works for you in the project that you're trying to shoot. And it just so happens that in this case, we needed to literally bring everything because this goal was so massive and so ambitious that we needed to make sure that we had all focal lengths covered from 12 millimeters to 600 because we were gonna be shooting everything.
2 goals, 1 trip.
Okay, we're gonna do this in sections. We're gonna try to keep this quick.
All right, let's start with your camera bag.
Okay, I was using the Peter McKinnon Nomadic Everyday Camera Bag, which is one of my favorites for trips like this because it holds a lot of gear. My camera is the Sony a7R4, and I like to have the 50mm 1.4 lens on that as my walk-around lens. I just think it's a good, versatile kind of lifestyle photography type lens.
Now your camera body was the a7R4, so R meaning resolution, and it's the highest resolution camera we have at like 60 something megapixels. So obviously that's good for still photos. We didn't shoot video on the a7R4, but it can shoot video.
Inside the a7R4, I was using pro-grade 256 memory cards, and I was filling them quite quickly because that camera is such high resolution. The files are pretty big. I wanted to shoot the highest resolution possible so we could have these images for print if we decided we wanted to kind of blow these up.
Or crop.
Or crop. I also was rocking a battery grip on that camera. It's the first time I've really used a battery grip. I was kind of hoping that it would extend the battery life on our shoots. I did find that it kind of got in the way a couple of times when we were hiking a lot.
Yeah, it's great for portrait style photos, but when you clipped it onto your capture clip, it kind of just slumped over.
You have something on your shirt.
Oh, well, whatever.
Drools or something. Along with that, we like to use the Peak Design camera straps because they're really easy to get on and off. We have those little toggles on every camera so we can kind of swap them out depending on what we're doing.
I had the Peter McKinnon Nomadic Combo 35-liter travel bag.
The big boy. The
big one, yeah. I was carrying that, and my camera body that I was using was the a7 IV. And that one is one that Becky basically just picked out for me. And she's like, here, this is the camera you're gonna be using.
A lot of you guys, since the a7 IV was released, have been asking what our opinions were on that camera. We didn't have any opinions because we had never used it. So when it came to this trip, we really needed that third camera body. So each of us had a photo body since the mission was so crazy. And the a7 IV's price tag was looking very appealing with the specs that it was giving. And actually the a7 IV has quickly become our second shooter when it comes to video because it's comparable to the a7S III and it matches.
So I had that as my walk around camera body, and I was mostly shooting photos on it as well. Usually had the 12 to 24 G Master lens on it.
That's your favorite little lens.
I love shooting wide. It's a big piece of glass though. It's like it's a heavy and big hefty lens.
And you can't put ND filters or filters on the front at all.
No, but it's got like a big element. So I'm always like kind of nervous that I'm gonna bust it off something.
Yeah. When I said little, it's big.
It's big, yeah.
And heavy.
Correct.
But amazing.
Yeah, so I was using also Peak Design accessories like Becky was with the Peak Design strap that have the little toggle so you can quick release it. Also using the Peak Design tripod plate, which connects to the Peak Design capture clip, which is that little clip here that goes on your strap for your bag, and you can just kind of clip it on quickly.
We're big fans of Peak Design and Nomadic in this house, if you haven't noticed.
Was I using the Lizzie Pierce edition?
One of us was using the Lizzie Pierce edition. Love you, Lizzie. We use the V90 cards on both the Sony Tough side and the Pro Grade side because they are fast enough to keep up with the kind of high speed shooting, and they can take 4K video well. So we just have V90s across the board for every camera we use.
And we do have one CF Express card that we bought initially thinking we would need it. I don't think we absolutely need the Express card for anything. The Express card is actually more cumbersome to use because we don't actually have a dedicated reader.
Before we get into the lenses and the drones and everything else, I just want to say a huge thank you to today's video partner, which is vidIQ. vidIQ is a website that offers the tools you need to help grow your YouTube channel. We love using vidIQ for our videos just to make sure we check all those boxes when it comes to search engine optimization, which is super important. YouTube is a search engine the same way Google is. So we made this film called Mozzie, and the word Mozzie doesn't really jive with the search engine because nobody really knows what that means. So when it came to choosing a YouTube title for our movie, we needed something that was keyword rich and searchable, so we used vidIQ to help us find some of those keywords to put in the title. So if you're working on your YouTube channel and you want to up your YouTube game, consider checking out vidIQ. You can get a 30-day trial for $1 using our link in the description box. Thank you, vidIQ, and if you want to support this channel, consider checking out our affiliate link.
We talked about the 12-24.
We talked about the 50.
51.4.
Now we're going to talk about all the other lenses that we brought in the bag.
You now have the 24-70. Now this is the f2.8, but it's the Mark I version, right?
It is.
I think they have a new version of that one out now.
And we're not really into like replacing lenses that we already use and like with the newest ones. If we have it, if it works, we're not going to get the new one. A recent addition to our kit is the 70-200 f2.8 Mark II lens, and this was kind of a focal length that we were missing in the kit. So we picked it up a couple of months ago, and it's been one of my favorite lenses to use because it's telephoto enough, but also wide enough that gives you kind of a nice versatile telephoto lens without being too extreme like the next lens we're going to talk about, which is the 200-600.
That one is a bit of a more of a specialty niche lens. It's f5.6 to 6.3 on the long end, I think. So it's a slower lens. It's a very long focal length.
It's very heavy.
It's heavy and it's massive.
It's a commitment.
It's a commitment. It's definitely a lens that we don't take all the time.
No. It's one of those lenses where you're like, am I going to be shooting like birds or like stuff that's far away? If yes, then we're going to take it.
We don't use that lens a lot, but
when you use it and it works out, it really works out.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to get a lot of the shots in this trip, like that caribou shot.
Yeah, I would not have been
that
able
was
to
at almost 600, wasn't it?
Yeah, like 5 something.
Some weird focal length, 533.6 or something.
I think some of the shots that we got with that lens were some wave shots. I got like a bird shot that was really close with waves in the background and it just looks like a wall of ocean. And then the caribou shot with the 200-600. So it's definitely a great lens if you're gonna be shooting landscapes and you're gonna be shooting nature, but it's also, like you said, a commitment.
Like if this wasn't a dedicated trip to make a photography book, obviously that lens wouldn't have come with us. But it was, so it did.
And it fit perfectly in the Peter McKinnon Nomadic 35-liter travel bag.
It did.
We love that bag for trips like this.
Yeah, the big boy bag, carrying all the big lenses and the big equipment. Oh, my shoulders.
And also you might have noticed in the film that both of our camera bags had elastic straps on the back. We actually souped our camera bag so we could stick the little seating pad and your drone and stuff. It just made things a little bit easier to get at while we were hiking to different destinations.
A little bit of elastic.
You talked about all these lenses that we use for photography, but all of these lenses can also be used for video as well, and that's kind of the joy of having one system in the bag, that all of these lenses work with all of our cameras.
Cameras are just tools. I mean, you can use any brand you want. We just liked Sony for its video capabilities, and it could do all the stuff photography-wise and more, so we switched to Sony.
Speaking of that, let's talk about the video kit, the stuff that we use to shoot the film.
So as far as the video kit is concerned, we use all the same lenses. So basically it's just an A7S III body with a 16-35 f4 Zeiss lens, which was the first lens we bought with this camera back in, what, like 2016? Like lost the lens cap.
There's paint all over it,
paint on it, scratched.
And that's what makes it the perfect
But the glass
lens.
is fine.
Oh yeah.
Just the outside scratch, T-nit. We'll put T-nit, we'll call it.
Yeah. For the film, we shot everything on the Sony a7S III and S-Log3.
But Becky, tell us more about your S-Log workflow. Oh, well, we'll link to a video in the description box and we'll talk about all our...
We can link to a video up here.
We'll link to it in both. Okay,
both.
About our S-Log3 LUTs that we developed, and we'll leave it at that.
We talked about the other cameras as well. That A7 IV was also a backup camera. If something had happened to the A7S III, we would be able to shoot this entire film on the A7 IV with the exact same settings and have it perform essentially the same.
One of these cameras goes down, we need to have other cameras be able to pick up the slack. So the A7S III, yeah, it shoots great video, but it can also shoot photos. Granted at 12 megapixels, but usually that's fine for normal size print. And just like that, the A7 IV can kind of just jack of all trades. It can shoot great video, it can shoot great photos. We had redundancy built into our setup.
Back to the video kit, we were also using our old trusty blunderbuss, the Rode Video Micro.
Oh man.
It's been around for a while.
That's been around with us also since 2016.
Oh gee. The only regret that I have is I wish that we had a more robust dead cat because of the wind in Newfoundland. It was just cutting through. It was so windy. So on top of that, we had the Deity D4 Duo as a backup mic. We always carry 2 mics, just in case.
If one piece of equipment goes down, you always want to have a backup, especially for like equipment that's like you absolutely need.
If something fails, what's going to stop us from shooting? It's going to be capturing audio and actually capturing the video. Having a backup camera and a backup mic and enough cards and enough batteries will have you set pretty much.
So we took a whole bunch of Z batteries. It's nice because now our kit all use the same type of batteries.
Yeah.
Before we were using the A6400, which used the older type Sony batteries. So we'd have to take 2 sets of chargers, 2 sets of batteries. Now we're all in the Z batteries. All the cameras take the same ones and it's good.
Again, using those V90 Sony Tough cards and the Pro Grade cards. We just love them. We haven't had any issues with them. So we just use them across all of our cameras interchangeably. And we had the Peak Design plate on there as well. Peak Design plates on everything. So they work on all the capture clips. Also Peak Design strap on there as well.
Strap on.
We're gonna get into the accessories that we took because some of the things on this list were absolute game changers for this specific excursion. We talked about the capture clip.
Yep.
We talked about the strap.
Tripod.
We brought 2 tripods. So Peak Design tripod and a ProMaster modular tripod, which is also a great little tripod at an affordable price. So we brought 2 of those so we could both shoot photos on a tripod at the same time. We did bring a plethora of filters, circular polarizers, 2 to 5 stop NDs, 6 to 9 stop NDs, and a variety of step rings, not only for video, shooting video in bright sunny days, but also doing long exposures for photography during the day. Brought a remote trigger, and arguably the underdog of the trip.
What is it?
Our photo gloves.
Oh, the photo gloves, yeah. Those are ProMaster photo gloves, right?
ProMaster photo gloves, they're like kind of wintry gloves. They're not super thick, but they're thick enough. The tips of the fingers fold back so you can like get at your shutter and your like wheels. Game changer.
But also has a like little magnetic conductor so that you can still use your phone.
Yeah, they were so handy when we were out, especially places like Bonavista, Vista, and we go out late at night and the wind was ripping off the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
And you got the 200 to 600 out like this, right? You can't breathe on your fingers and your hands are freezing. So you put the photo gloves on and your fingers are out so you can, you know, change your zoom or whatever. And it just made it so much more comfortable. You could fly your drone with it.
I think I did fly my drone a lot with them.
Speaking of your flying your drone, I love
Yes.
all these segues. Let's talk about the drone kit.
Our drone setup, we had the Air 2S. We got the version that came with the controller with the built-in screen on it.
Game changer.
Oh my God, that was one thing I hated about flying drones is having to connect my phone to it. It's just like you turn the remote control on and it just has a screen, it's just good to go. And so I always kind of say like, don't buy new equipment for a big trip that hasn't been like thoroughly tested, but we bought the Air 2S drone like literally the week before we left.
It came like 2 days before we left.
Yeah, figured out some of the modes. All right, it's fine. Set a D-log and let's go.
We're good to go and throw that thing out over the ocean. We're good to go on depending on that to get us the most banger images for our film.
Next drone we had was the FPV setup. I have multiple FPV drones, but I only brought one this trip. It was a 5-inch.
Good job for paring
I know,
down.
I had to ration my space and really kind of make some choices here.
You had to sacrifice your drone so we could bring lenses.
I ended up bringing my X-Hover blaster frame. It was a kit that I bought but built myself. Powering it is essentially a DJI Air unit. So I use the DJI goggles, the DJI remote, and then batteries for each of them. So it was a full setup, right?
Oh yeah.
But it allowed us to get shots that we otherwise couldn't get without an FPV drone. And some of my favorite shots in the video are the FPV shots, you know, like the diving on the iceberg and flying through the cliffs. That was fun. I bought just basically a cheap card jacket off Amazon and a ton of micro SD cards, but I actually buy all the small cards.
No, because wasn't that my suggestion?
No,
Wasn't I like, we're losing too many drones and too much good footage. Can we have a little bit of a different setup
Didn't lose
here?
that much. No, so what we did was, I'm pretty sure I came up with the idea. I came up with the idea.
We bricked a Hero 10 on this trip.
We did actually, yeah.
And by we, I mean you.
I still had to repair my drone too. I was full right into the dock. Anyway, so we have actually a card jacket full of micro SD cards, like probably 12 micro SD cards, maybe 13 or 14. And they're like 32 gigs. And what I do is I load it, send it, and then if I get a good shot, mind you, FPV drones are only flying about like 3 to 5 minutes on one battery. So I'll shoot for 3 to 5 minutes, bring it back, and if it was, I'll just take that card right out, put a new card in, so if for whatever reason the drone and the camera doesn't come back, then the footage is safe.
So we're gonna do a full video on commercial drones versus FPV drones. If you are curious about the differences between the two, we have tons of examples, so that's coming. We brought laptop, we brought card reader, we brought hard drive, but we did back up our photos every single night onto our laptop, and then we kept those images and video clips on our cards so we had redundancy throughout the whole trip. Brought the 14-inch M1 MacBook Pro. It's a recent addition to our kit as well. We just needed something that was able to handle footage on the go. We're bringing our cameras in some pretty extreme conditions, especially like when we were on the boat, everything was soaked.
Yeah.
So if a card went down, we would have lost the whole trip. So it was really important for us to be doing this every single night.
It's like 11 p.m. and you're just like, I just want to go to bed because I have to get up in 3 hours, 4 hours.
But it's always worth it to have that peace of mind.
I thought it was very impressive that we were fitting all that into 2 backpacks.
It was very heavy. When we traveled through the airport, the camera bags were so heavy that we did not wear them on our backs. Yeah, so I bought these little suitcase trolley things that fold up. So basically they're like a trolley, and then your camera bag goes on top of it like that little strap on the back, and then it becomes a wheelie suitcase.
Still very cumbersome.
They're like flipping over. You could see like the last bit of the film, like you're just like struggling on the tarmac. You had the shot of the trip. The shot of the trip, in my opinion. Pissing Mare Falls. That's what it's called. Anyway, stunning shot. I loved it. It was like abstract. It was cool. It was.
Thank you. That was with the 70 to 200.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite shots of the trip that you took?
My favorite shots that I took would be that fox shot where he's doing this.
Oh my God, the fox. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a little guy. He was just posing for us.
Yeah.
We pulled off on a scenic outlook, like off the highway, looking over this like beautiful, gorgeous bay. And you would think that the water would be the attraction, but we got out to shoot and there was this little fox and he was very, very curious.
Yeah.
I think it was because like tourists probably feed him and so he's very like no fear, but it kind of worked to our advantage because we could just take photos of him. He wasn't like really skittish and didn't run away.
He was really cute.
What's your favorite shot that you shot?
That I shot?
Yeah.
I'm biased towards the Fogo Island Art Studios because I really like the architecture, but I think my favorite shot is actually that panorama at Spiller's Cove that I did at sunrise.
Ooh, I love that one.
In the video, I was like, I don't know how to shoot this. And you were like, when you like it, bracket and stack it. And I was like, don't. And I just, well, I didn't stack them, but I stitched them. When you like it, bracket and stitch it. I think that one turned out pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty
I like
happy with that.
Just like very classic Newfoundland.
Yes. And you know what they say?
When you lack it,
you bracket
and
then you stack it. For those of you wondering what that even means, it means when you lack it in skills, you bracket your images, you bracket your exposures, and then you stack those in post. Make sure that you get that exposure, baby.
It has all the equipment we use to create not only a photo book, but a full feature-length documentary on it. Links all down in the description box. 2 goals, 1 trip.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks vidIQ for supporting, and we'll see you on the next DVD extra, which is I don't know what. You'll get it. Bye. We're talking about what's in our camera bag. Okay.
The trip where we had 2 goals, 1 trip. Let's go.
7.4 was a really
Yeah, 200, 600, f4.5 to f5.6 at the long end. And that's...
No, it's not. It's 5 point whatever.
5.6, 6.3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Put both of those things. No, we didn't. That was for heading north.
We're confusing our trips now.
Okay, wait.
So it's a Mac, it's one of the MacBook Pro, what is it? They have the newest MacBook Pro?
I love how you were just like, what is it that we have?
I don't know what we have. This is your job. I'm just the caddy, I'm just the mule.